Hi, I'm Alex Zaves and welcome to the Arts and Crafts Show. Today I want to talk about how much do you pay for a booth at a show. Well, let's start at the one end where it's free. You join a small community where they are selling, it's a farmer's market. They've got a few craft booths there. And, they just sort of gather every Wednesday and in an open area, and it's free. And maybe you'll make $50, $60, $70, $80, $100. And you'll trade for some food products. You'll get to know all the people in the community pretty good. But it's a free, and it's kind of interesting because you will learn something about your craft and the people who are looking at it. So it's a good starting point for you to understand what you're doing. You do that 4 or 5 times, you can move up to the next level. Maybe you'll get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce or the school group, and and they put on these activities during the summertime usually, and you'll could pay $30 or $50, and from there, let's say you're paying $50, there's a good chance you'll make $400 or $500 at the show. Sometimes it's a 1-day show, a 2-day show. And I did a show in California, and the show cost about $700 now for the full year, and it's a 1-day show, Sundays only, plus holidays. Holiday shows would include Saturday, so you were pretty well guaranteed about 65 shows a year, and you would probably make anywhere between $300 to $1,000 on a 1-day show. Not too bad, okay? And it's the name of the show is the Santa Barbara Beach Show, and they always have it every Sunday. It's been going on for 55 years now. But then there are the more upper echelon shows where it's not a first come first served basis like some of the shows I was just mentioning, where it's $30 or $50 a show. You sign up, you're first in. They only allow 80 booths in the show, and as soon as you sign up, you're in the show. The ones I'm talking about are juried shows. And those shows can range between $200 and $600 for the weekend. And now we're talking about where you're going to make some serious money. We're talking about where you can make anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 on a weekend show. Usually the shows are 3 days. A lot of them are 2 days, but 3 days. And the first day is a Friday. The show starts about 12 o'clock, and you're set up early in the morning, but you get a pretty good crowd in the afternoon and in the evening. You'll make enough money to cover all your expenses on Friday. And then Saturday is when you really go gangbusters. I mean, it is full people coming to the show. The show advertises between 50 and 100,000 people, and that's when you're going to make a lot of your money, is on Saturday. Hopefully the weather is good, okay? That really counts on a lot of little things. The weather's good, you've got a good location, you're in the center. It's, there's a lot of little details there, which we can talk about later. And then Sunday, almost always Sundays are slow. In all 9 out of 10 shows that I do, Sundays are always so slow. People go to church early in the morning. They don't wake up. Sunday's sort of their day off. Going to the show is secondary or third, and when they do come to the show, it's usually like 12 o'clock, and then they'll stay maybe till 3 o'clock. The show closes early, and you'll make maybe 20% to 40% of what you made on Saturday. Not 100% of the time, like I said, you could make some good money on Sunday. And it'll look better if Saturday's slow, and then Sunday kind of picks up the slack, okay? And then there are other shows where it could run you up to $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. These are shows that are retail shows, but they're also a combination of wholesale shows. It'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday and Friday is a wholesale show, and Saturday, Sunday is retail. And that's where you're in a whole different ball game when you're coming to sales, because you're already setting up for wholesale accounts and retail accounts. So let's backtrack a little bit back to what the shows that we normally do. Okay, the $100 range. What does that mean? How much? For $100, you should at least be making $1,000 at the show. Okay, that is pretty much the common rule. Hopefully they'll make more. Hopefully we all make more. And for a $100 show, $200 show, 10 times $2,000 more. $500 show. Well, once you start hitting $5, you should at least make $5,000 on a slow weekend, but you're looking more at like $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, maybe even $15,000. So that's what you should be looking at. And then you have to take into account how many people come to the show. That you're going to need to find out from the organizers, and they'll put that in their publicity stats. 100,000 people come to this show. There's a show, and then there's how many artists are going to be in the show, or how many artists and craftspeople are going to be in the show, and then food booths, and it's really a full-on event. I've done a show where there's over 1,100 booths in the show. We've all seen shows like that. The show costs a couple $100, but you're pretty well going to make $7,000, $8,000, maybe more on top with that, because 100,000, 150,000 people coming to that show. I mean, the customers will even book their hotels a year in advance. I mean, it's got a real following to it. I mean, the city sells so many booth fees, and then you can go to the show and you can buy a booth fee on somebody's lawn, or in front of in front of a gas station, and you can, work something out. The whole show is the complete town. The town may only have 9,000 people in it, but there's 1,100 booths at the show, a couple hundred food vendors on top of that, and then there's these other little booths on. They sell the nonprofit organizations, or they've got some commercial booths at the show, but that only amounts to another 40 or 50 other booths. Some really great shows. So. And then you've got to think about, okay, you've got a show and you got a 10 by 10 space, but it's not enough space for you. So what do you do about that? So if the booth fee is like $200, but you need a double booth, now you're looking at $400. Some booths even sell triple spaces and 4 spaces, quadruple spaces. And if you start going 3 and 4, they'll give you a little bit of a price break on 3 and 4. So, but jewelers, they usually can get everything that they need into a 10 by 10 space. Some of the jewelers that deal in silver and gold will expand to a double booth. I've seen somewhere jewelers that are silver and gold, they've even got their booths all set up, and they've got an air conditioning running behind them, to kind of cool things down. They want the customers to feel comfortable. So, but you got to think about that. So if a booth is costing you, for a single booth, $400, and you're figuring you're going to make $5,000 to $7,000, but you need a double booth, now you're looking at $800. And we're not talking about travel costs. We're not talking about your food or restaurant or lodging, whatever you do. When I stay at the shows, I camp at the shows, and all the shows that I've ever been to all have some kind of camping facilities or camping nearby, or part of the show, and it's free. So I'll put a link up there if you are interested in camping at the shows. So booth fees vary from free to very expensive if you're doing wholesale shows. And the best shows sometimes are you just set up in front of your house. I did that last year. I just set up in front of my house. I was just kind of curious. I had a weekend in between shows, and I'm pretty much was on a a thoroughfare where people were passing by all the time. They didn't really stop. They're just driving by, but I made $300, and it was kind of an interesting experience, and I enjoyed it. And then another $300 taught me a lot about when people stop by inside my booth from outside. The problem is when you set up on your front lawn, people are looking at, that's $25 when they look at it, but they thought that when they come up to it, they're going to get it for $1 or $3 or something like that. That's why it's better to go to another show Farmers market is a little bit more organized. You're part of a group. The art shows are better because, you know, they're established, that they're not a flea market style market where people will ask you for discounts even though they may be tempted to do so, and even they do so. And then there's the shows where they'll cost you $200, $300, $400 to get in. Mostly those are jury shows where you'll have to pay a jury fee, $25 to $40. You submit your pictures, your slides, your CDs, and then you're judged on that. At that point, then you're going to be into some serious money. You're setting up for the same amount of time you would for a smaller show, a $100 show, as you would for a $300 show. The only difference is you're going to have to carry a lot more inventory. So if you figure you're going to make $5,000 at the show, you need to at least carry with you $10,000 to $15,000 worth of inventory. Very serious, because you don't want to run short in any particular area. Besides, you're going to sell it later anyway. So, and you might really have a good show where you will make more than $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. Most of your inventory will dissolve, and you're going to have a great show. That also happens with the shows that are juried shows. But we all have to work our way up to that level. And once you get to that level, then you're just going to stay there, because that's where the money is. That's where you get to pay your mortgages off. That's where you get to pay your car off. That's where you get to have your vacations from. That is when you become full-time. And that's what I did 40 years ago. I became full-time. But back then, they didn't have the kind of shows that we have today, the real organized shows. Then it was a little bit more loose, foot-free, you know, fancy-free, and I'll put a link above when I first started becoming first-time as well. Anyway, that's my story about booth fees. Could be free, up to $2,200 or more, depending if you're part of the what kind of a show you're participating in. But I would say the average show is between $200 and maybe $600 for the average show fee. It's more on the West Coast and more on the East Coast, but I would say in the Midwest, down to Florida, it's going to be a little bit less expensive. So it's been where you are, the better shows are going to cost you a little bit more and a little bit more difficult to get in. So anyway, good luck, make some money, and any questions you have or comments, please make them below. Give me a subscribe if you can, and ring the bell, and let me know how things are going. And I certainly will answer your questions if they're a little bit more specific. I'm just giving a general overall feel for how much craft booths cost. Thanks very much. Bye.